Hi, my name is Jeff Burns, and I'm also known as the Mystic Bodyboarder. And I have lived for the last 6 years on the beautiful Carolina coast at Carolina and Curry Beach. This is my home now. I moved to the coast about 6 years ago to complete my doctorate in peace studies. I'm also a leadership coach and a peacemaker, and I have traveled the world doing peace work between Muslims and Christians and have created successful, sustainable communities in the United States. And so I moved here to the coast, finished my doctorate, thought I'd be here for 2 years, then moved to a major city like Chicago or Minneapolis, and I do work in those cities. But once I got here, something changed. And I'm writing a book about it, and this is one of my dreams. And what happened was one day, the only way I put it is God found me in the waves and began to play with me as I rode an old bodyboard that I pulled from my neighbor's trash. It completely has changed my life. And so while I was writing my dissertation, I'm ADHD, you can tell by the way I move around. I would write for several hours and go bodyboard and do this with my lovely daughter Olivia. And we would go bodyboard. And as I was in the water, and I'm in the water 3 to 5 times a week, usually at 45 minutes to an hour, it's part of my fitness. As I was in the water, I began to experience some things. I began to experience self-forgetfulness. It was like time stopped or things paused, and I would be bodyboarding and I would think 20 minutes had passed, and when I get out of the water, 2 hours had passed. And my wife had Oceana got me a surf watch, this so it would keep me grounded to reality in this world. But I thought this was an unusual phenomenon. And the other thing that began to happen in the water, I began to experience this strong sense of oneness with everything around me, the fish, the birds, the pelicans. I've developed a great affection for the brown pelican. And I began to feel this deep connection, loving connection to everything around me. And I began to see things. I began to become more mindful of the world around me and nature. And then a third thing that began to happen was I began to, on a physical and emotional and spiritual level, to sense a deeper sense of transcendence that at times was overwhelming. And I began to think, well, something's going on here. Is this just me? Am I just a woo-woo crazy spiritual person? And so I decided to research this. So I spent the last year, I've read surf memoirs by Jewish rabbis. I've read them by Taoists, Buddhists, Christians. I've read the wide gamut of people, agnostics, and I began to find that without exception, every one of these people had similar experiences when they were in the ocean. So I began to, I thought, well, is there science for this? There's a spirituality to it. So I began to look into science. I read the book Blue Mind by Dr. Nichols, and I read The God Gene and others, and we began to realize that there's something that happens to us. It's wired in our evolution and DNA to have mystical experiences when we connect with nature. I began to realize there's a whole field of scientists around it. So something transcendent happens when we play in the ocean or we're near water on an ongoing basis. Then this transcendence, what I found out was, some call it soul surfing, should make us better human beings. And Freud had a term for this. I found out there's even a psychological studies on this. And Freud had a friend in France that came up with a term, and he called it oceanic experiences. It's experiences that people have near the ocean, in the ocean, who are around it a significant time. And usually once they leave the ocean, they have a sense of well-being and peace, and they become more altruistic. So I went on a quest to study this. And so I've done all my research. I'm just about, I'm done with that. Now I'm getting ready to put my chapters together, and I've had a couple of best-selling authors who are friends that looked at it and said, we love this concept. This story needs to be told, and I'm telling it not from a scientist perspective, but a bodyboarder perspective. And so I have a dream. My dream is to write this book, but I have some, I guess you call them sub-dreams to this that I think will make this successful. My dream is to write this memoir about my 6 years here as a bodyboarder to Carolina coast. I would like to, my dream is to go to Portugal with my family or Cornwall, England, and stay a week where we can study under the best bodyboarding coaches in the world. I want to go immerse myself. I've been doing it for 6 years. I'm good, but I really want to immerse myself in this. And that will cost $6,500 to do this, but it's going to be awesome. And once I have this experience, I want to bring it back to Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach, Curry Beach. I've already got people that are bodyboarding with me. People are getting very interested in this. And so my dream is to go there. I'll need $6,500 for that dream. The other thing is I would like to have a dream of having $13,000 so I can work with a best-selling author who believes that she can get my book to #1 on Amazon. She's going to walk. She says, you got good content. You got all this. But in writing a book, you've got to have a platform, a good platform. So she can help me. And I have a best-selling author who is a master blogger. He's going to help me with the blogging side of that, and they're giving me a great discount. So the total for that will be $13,000. And I'd like to ask for $5,000 for that dream, so I can take 6 to 8 weeks off of work to finish my proposal in order to get it to an agent and publisher. And I've got with one publishing company, one of the guys is bodyboarding with me. He came up and we connected through bodyboarding. I didn't know what he did. And I told him about my book, and he said, Jeff, this is a great idea. Do you know what I do? And he told me he is an acquisitions guy with a major publishing company. He goes, get me chapters. I want to hear more about it. And folks, I just want to say this. The ocean next to God and my family is the dearest entity in my life. It's a universe in our back door. And what happens to the ocean happens to us. And I want to write about that. And right now, a lot of people look at ecology and they look at the problems with the environment and they're frightened and they feel despair. We've got to give people a good story, and people will only protect what they love. And so I love the ocean. I love where I am. I love the pelicans and the birds. And these are the things I want to protect, and I want to invite people into that space. And hopefully they'll connect with nature, experience God or the divine in some wonderful way, and science backs this up too. But there's a tragedy happening in our country right now. Our national parks are under threat. And one of the problems they're finding is the millennials and the generation behind them are not going to these wonderful, beautiful, glorious natural places in the world. They're losing a connection with nature. If they lose a connection with nature, they're not going to love it. They're not going to take care of it. So now they're trying to get these young people to come. And once they come, they fall in love with it. I want people to fall in love with the ocean, the sea. The Carolina coast is my home. And I want to invite others to explore the pleasures of bodyboarding and the Carolina coast. And I want them to start positioning themselves to have God moments, or you can call them, if you're not into God like I am, you can call them transcendental experiences in the sea, which evolutionists say is part of our hardwiring to give us meaning in life. And on a broader level, I want them to view their hobbies, their passions, whether it's art, music, fishing, whatever it is, as sacred acts that they can begin to experience God and the things that are meaningful to them. Will you help me get this dream to come to pass? I want it to happen, and I would love to be a part of it. And I want to thank you guys for creating this wonderful, wonderful thing you're doing, that you're doing this next year. It's tremendous, and God bless you for your kindness and the way you're trying to make the world a better place. And lastly, I want you to see, this is my favorite bodyboard, Waves of Glory. We've caught many waves out here. And this is my little daughter, Olivia. Well, she's not so little anymore. Come over here, Olivia. Olivia is 10 years old, and she is my Padawan, and she's learning to be a bodyboarder, and she's actually getting better than I am. So if you're ever up at Curry Beach or Carolina Beach, look me up, and I got some extra boards, and you're free to come and join me. A lot of people do. God bless you.